people from Jewish Activists of Maine. We had people from Women's March and Ice Watch.
Yes.
We have people from Sunrise and Extinction Rebellion.
Maine chapter of Anonymous.
Use their networks and are going to make this happen. So, a couple things about what we are and are not looking to accomplish tonight. We have a list of 5 proposals, 5 ways that the City Council can help us as a community and as organizers evict ICE from this community. If you've already read these on our social media, they may be familiar, but essentially what it comes down to is number 1, no holding cells. Number 2, no ICE on courthouses. Number 3, no city collaboration with ICE. Number 4, no contracts for any organization that contracts with ICE. And number 5, no interference with peaceful protests.
Yeah!
We would like to see everyone who is running for mayor and everyone who is running for city council endorse these 5 measures as ways that they can help us. We've invited everyone here tonight who is running for mayor and everyone who is currently running for a city council position. Take a look around and see how many you have here. So first up, I would like to have our first speaker be Lee from Jewish Activists of Maine.
Hey y'all.
Real close to your face,
Mazel
Like this?
tov.
Yep, right on
Okay.
the chin.
In Judaism, there is a concept called Lashon Hara. It usually refers to a prohibition on speaking ill, but it can also refer to speaking out when you have to, when the moment demands it, when there is injustice happening. I don't want to be here today. I'd rather be cooking dinner. My son's right over there. He's hungry right now. I'm sure we all would rather be doing something else. But I have to be here. We all have to be here. Because we all have seen what happens when ICE moves into a community. Families get torn apart. People have died in ICE custody. Children have been sexually abused while under ICE custody. As a Jewish kid growing up, my elders and teachers told me that the Nazi Holocaust was the worst thing that could ever happen. They told me to stand up if a government, if any government, systematically targeted a group for arrest, humiliation, deportation, and dehumanization. They told me that German politicians were deluded when they thought that they could harness and contain humanity's darkest impulses for their own political gain. And they told me about the utter cowardice of those who were in a position to do something but thought that action was too difficult or too scary. They told me never again. Well, never again is now. Thank you. The poem First They Came was written in 1946 by Lutheran pastor Martin Niemöller. It goes, "First they came out for the socialists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out, because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out, because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me." We are all here today speaking out. We are all demanding that our beloved city and its government not be complicit in the horrors, the utter horrors that ICE is visiting upon those not born in this country, and in its campaign of terror against those who might look like that they were not born in this country. You know, there is another reason why I'm here. I'm scared. I'm really fucking scared. There are people in Portland and in Maine who want ICE to be here, who support politicians like Nick Isgro, Larry Lockman, and Paul LePage. They want a Maine that is Christian, white, and born in the good old US of A. White nationalists are here in Maine. And sometimes they target immigrants, and other times they target women, they target members of the LGBT community, they target black folks, they target brown folks, they target Jews, and they target Muslims. And we have to stand together, and we have to keep each other safe, and we have to demand that our community and political leaders also keep us all safe. And I'm happy we're here today, but we have to stand together tomorrow and the next day and again and again. So to members of City Council, and to those who want to be on City Council, pass the ordinances proposed by Maine Immigrant Allies. And if you won't, or claim that you can't, then we'll vote in someone who will keep us all safe. One last word. On November 24th, Jewish activists in Maine will be protesting Concord Coach's policy of permitting ICE agents on its buses. Visit us on Facebook to learn more.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that. You all should think about going to that event. If you haven't done it yet, I would recommend that everybody here go on Facebook and like both Maine Immigrant Allies and Jewish activists in Maine. So I'd like to get back to the topic we mentioned before, 5 proposals. We have 5 ways the City Council can help us as a community and as organizers deal with this problem of ICE. Mayor Strimling, will you pledge your support for our 5 proposals?
Thank you very much. My name is Ethan Strimling. I'm the mayor of the city of Portland, and I'm so proud of you for being out here tonight. It's so difficult to stand up in the face of this kind of intolerance at a moment like this in our country. But what we know about the city of Portland is we will not tolerate the intolerance. And whether it was Donald Trump who came here and scapegoated our Somali brothers and sisters, and 500 of us stood on the steps of City Hall and said to him, no, we will not tolerate your intolerance, or whether once he became president and he said that he was going to ban Muslims from coming to our country, and 1,000 of us stood at the airport and said, no, we will not tolerate your intolerance, or whether it was when he went back and he started to attack women's rights and 10,000 people marched down the streets and we said, no, we will not tolerate your intolerance. Today, we understand ICE is the intolerance that we will not tolerate in this city.
Amen.
Now look, there's an election tomorrow and we're not here to electioneer, but I want to invite, there are 4 people here that I've seen, Andrew, Layla, and Pius. Will you please come up, and Travis, please come up and stand with me. Some of us are running against each other, some of us are running unopposed, but without question, all of us understand what you are talking about. So think about who's here right now. Because in order for our government to respond, we need leaders up there who will stand with you out here. And the folks you're seeing on the steps right now have made clear that they will stand with you out here when they are up there. So thank you again for the work that you are doing. We must make sure that agencies like ICE do not intimidate our neighbors. This is a city that will not check your papers when you're walking down the street. This is a city that will not look at you and decide that you need to live somewhere else. We are a city that welcomes our new families, that says, here we will take care of you. When 400 immigrants arrived on our shore, we did not send them back. We said, we will find you shelter, we will provide food, we will get you jobs, and your children will be in our schools. We will not tolerate Donald Trump.
Yes.
We will not put children in cages. We will not separate families. Yes. We understand the lifeblood of this city are the immigrants who have built it for 200 years. And we will never, ever, ever look back. Thank you so much for your work this evening.
One last question, Mr. Mayor. Can we count on you to fight for all 5 of our proposals?
If I am elected mayor tomorrow, we will bring forward your proposals for the council to consider, to make sure that we can make sure that the debate happens in this city, that we can try to bring them across the finish line to truly turn our city into a place that welcomes everyone and that is a sanctuary for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for coming out. Mayor Strimling, thank you very much for supporting the immigrant community. Thank you very much for your leadership. in making sure that the vulnerable members of our community, our city, are taken care of. About 10 days ago, I was at a conference in Michigan, and I happened to be at a table with about 8 other people, most of whom, the conference is National Immigration Integration Conference. And for the past 2 or 3 years, anytime I travel out of state, I carry my passport. So I took out my passport and put it on the table and say, is it just me, or do you all carry your passport? And every one of us, both of us are either first or secondary Americans, and each person brought out his or her passport. And the reason why I carry my passport is the same reason why these individuals carry their passport. Either they have a name that is not white, or they look different. And we are all concerned that we may be caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. And the only thing that will get us out of that situation is our passport. And the reason for that is we have a racist occupying the White House. And now we have ICE coming to settle in the heart, right in the middle of our city. And I tell you what, I will support the 5 ordinances that you are bringing forward. But what I have already done is I have asked the city, our corporation council, who is the city lawyer, to look and see, as an elected people, an elected board or elected body that governs this city, what tool is available to us legally to make sure that we don't put kids in jail right here in our city. We cannot do that by ourselves. So I will encourage each and every one of you to continue to engage us, engage the people that I work with here, to make sure that they listen to all of us, that this is not the type of city that we want to live in. So thank you very much for coming out tonight. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you. And thank you all for standing here with us.
Thank you, Pius. I'd like to hear from Travis next.
Check 1, check 2, check 3. Hi, I'm Travis Curran. Have you all met me?
No.
Maybe not, maybe. I'm a waiter at Empire Chinese Kitchen.
I know
An
your brother.
immigrant-run business. I proudly stand next to all of these people because the immigrants are what have made our community so great. I've prepared some remarks. I must unlock my phone. Thank you all for showing up. It's cold out, and I know it means so much to each and every one of us for us all to be here. Each and every one of us is the reason our city is so amazing, because we care about Portland, Maine. We work, we struggle, and we fight for Portland. And Portland is no home for the federal institutions such as ICE. I am not speaking to you today as a candidate, but as a citizen of Portland. I walk past here every day to go to work, and I walk back every night, and that is not going to change tomorrow. America is a beautiful country, and it's been built by immigrants. We've come from all over the centuries to the land of the free and the home of the brave. And you have all proven today that we are brave. And you all have proven today that we are all actually families. Everyone's immigrated here. My family came from Canada, and before that, France. But it's not important where we come from, because we're here now. Once you come to America, you're an American. Once you come to Maine, you are a Mainer. And when you come to Portland, you are a Portlander. Every Portlander gets an equal chance at employment and an affordable home. City Council favors big money developers relying on the tourism industry. There we go.
Yeah!
Okay. Relying on the tourism industry, but the tourism industry relies on me, it relies on you, it relies on us, the working class that keeps our city running, that makes this city the nationally renowned destination it is. Tomorrow I do ask for your #1 vote, and I promise you with every ounce of my soul I'll represent your voices in City Hall. I am one of you. I will fight your battles, and I will evict ICE out of downtown. We have the steps. You've heard them. We know how to do it. We don't need 4 more years of gear grinding and discussion. We can get something done, and we can get it done right now. Thank you all so much for coming out. When you vote tomorrow, it's ranked choice. You all know what to do. But thank you so much for standing up here tonight. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you. Come and get some dumplings. I'll be your waiter. That's not going to change for a couple months. But if you vote me number 1, it might. I'll still do like a cameo shift there once in a while. I can't leave them. I got Chinese tattooed on my body. I speak Cantonese. I work for them. I've laid my sword at their feet. And I've laid my sword at your feet here at City Hall, and I promise we will get ICE out of our town, people. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Strimling and Councillor Ali are headed off to the City Council meeting. What I'd like to point out is that, as we've heard a couple times already, the ballot for mayor is ranked choice, which means you get to cast more than 1 vote. There are currently 4 people who are on the ballot, and only 2 of them have given me a reason to check a box next to their name. Yes. That's all I'm saying. Now, a couple other people who are running for City Council are going to speak and talk to you about why you should consider putting boxes next to their names.
Hi, I hope you can hear me. I wish that light would go on.
You're awesome, Layla.
Thank you. My name is Layla Karger, and my family and I came here from Afghanistan as refugees 29 years ago, fleeing the Soviet Union's invasion on our land. When we arrived, we made Maine our home and thrived here. We built businesses here and communities with many others who were just like us. My message to everyone, including the tenants of Drygo Management, is this. We're not going anywhere. The asylum seekers won't be going anywhere. Undocumented immigrants won't be going anywhere either.
Woo!
But I know who is going somewhere way out of here, and that is ICE. We won't stop till you are gone, and that is a promise I'll make right now as a resident, as a business owner, and as an immigrant, and as a candidate for District 3. Maine as a state is suffering a workforce crisis and shortage of young people. This isn't news to anyone, but it's important to think about, and here's why. Immigrants, refugees, and asylum seekers are the lifeblood we need to survive as a state. Drygo Management, do you understand that? Do you even care? Because for me personally, my problem tonight is with you. Drygo Management, a property management company so thirsty for tenants, they decide to lease a space to a government agency like ICE. They are not contributing to our city, they are taking from it, and you are allowing it to happen. Maine is a dying state, depleting of people every year, and you invite the family separation stormtroopers of our time to lease space from you? Drygo and ICE, I'll tell you this, not only will I uphold the 5 proposals made by the Immigrant Ally organization, but I'll add to it. If you take one single Mainer from here, I'll rally up every business owner from here to Augusta to file hundreds, if not thousands, of civil suits against you both and sue your asses for negatively impacting our workforce.
Amen.
As a publisher of an immigrant magazine, I'll make sure Drygo loses so much business they drown in lawyer fees and vacancies.
Yes!
Shame on you both. ICE, leave Maine and never come back. Drygo, save yourself from further humiliation and damage to your business by terminating the lease.
Yes!
Thank you guys for being here. District 3, Layla, you've seen the signs.
Thank you, Layla. We have one last candidate for City Council who's going to speak to us, Andrew Volk.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out tonight. My name's Andrew Volk. I'm running for City Council in District 3 as well, along with my friend Layla. I appreciate her being here. I appreciate you all being here. One reason that I absolutely love Portland, Maine is because we are a community. We're a community of people, and we're a community of immigrants, and we're a community of workers. Thank you all for being out here tonight. ICE doesn't want us to be a community. ICE doesn't help us as a community. It rips families apart. It discriminates people. It doesn't welcome people. I love Portland because we welcome people. Let's get ICE out of here. I am absolutely in support of all 5 ordinances that the Maine Immigrant Alliance is proposing, and if elected to City Council, I will be supporting them. Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Andrew. Thank all of you for coming up here and for making those commitments for us. We really appreciate it. All right, do you guys want to chant?
Yeah! Yeah!
Say it loud. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Immigrants are welcome here.
Clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Well,
Say it loud.
Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Loud.
Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
All right. This one's a bit of a variation on one you already know. We came out here tonight looking for a commitment from City Council. And what are we going to do if we don't get it?
Shut it down. Stand up, fight back.
All of the things. What do we want? A commitment. When do we want it?
Now!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
If we don't get it?
Shut it down!
Say it loud. Say it clear. Immigrants are welcome here.
Say it loud! Say it clear! Immigrants are welcome here!
What kind of a commitment are you looking for?
We gave them 5 proposals, 5 proposed ordinances. Yeah, I can go over them again, absolutely. The very first one is no holding cells. We want the city to pass no holding cells. We want the city to pass an ordinance rezoning the district so that no federal holding facilities can be operated, yes. Although I'd love it if they did it for the whole town. Okay.
South Portland's next.
So yeah, I just want to mention the other 2. No ICE at courthouses. No city collaboration with ICE. No contracts for companies that contract with ICE. And no interference by the city with peaceful protests. These 5 things can all be done. All of these things are being done in other cities, including the other Portland, who's currently leading us on that.
Yeah!
I think that's too bad that we're playing catch up. I think we should be leading the nation.
What's your name?
My name's Julian.
What's your last name?
I'll talk with you later if you want an interview. All right, what time do we have?
5:23.
5:23. I'd like to hear from BK. BK is an attorney here in the Portland area who works with a lot of clients who are being targeted by ICE.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Bree Kidman, and I'm running for United States Senate.
Is it cool if I say something at some point?
But that's not till June. And there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen between now and June. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I mostly represent people who can't afford an attorney. And that winds up being a lot of people who don't have immigration status.
Right.
Over the last few years, I've noticed a disturbing increasing trend where I have clients who are granted bail, but when they post bail, ICE comes to pick them up, and it takes weeks to months to figure out where ICE has taken them. And I'm an attorney. I know how these systems work. I know who to call, but I keep getting hung up on. So if I can't find these people, what about their families?
But are they hiding?
You will be told, if you've been told already by papers, but you'll be told over the next few months that the ICE that's coming to one city center is the good ICE. Thank you.
Yeah,
You'll
like
be
the
told
good
that
government.
these is just Homeland Security investigations who are just here to take away criminals. What I say to that is bullshit.
Amen.
I'm going to read to you from the Homeland Security Investigations website a bit about what they do. HSI has broad legal authority to enforce a diverse array of federal statutes. It uses this authority to investigate all types of cross-border criminal activity, including federal crimes, money laundering and bulk cash smuggling, commercial fraud and intellectual property theft, cybercrimes, human rights violation, human smuggling and trafficking, immigration, document and benefit fraud, narcotics and weapons smuggling and trafficking, transnational gang activity, export enforcement, and international art and antiquity theft. Now, I don't know about you, but when I hear all those things, I hear things that are illegal without ICE being here. We already have cops for that. We don't need ICE to do it.
Amen.
We already have a jail in Portland where many people accused of these crimes are. We don't need them housed in one city center. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution says that no state shall deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. The only reason for having ICE enforce these laws that are applicable to all Americans is that they want to apply them disproportionately to our immigrant neighbors. If I'm elected to Senate, I won't support these 5 proposals because they won't be necessary. If I'm elected to the Senate, I will fight tooth and nail to abolish ICE.
Damn right! Yes!
Thank you for all being here tonight. Keep fighting. Remember, no matter what they say about the branch of ICE that's going into one city center, there is no good ICE. There is no good reason for them to be here.
Good point to mention, since we're on video too, the 14th Amendment actually states that anyone born or naturalized or living in a jurisdiction
so we have about 5 more minutes in which we're allowed to continue using the sound system, and after that we may get cut off. What I want to let you all know is that public comment begins at 6 p.m. up there, and I think we need to pack that place out with people who are willing to take up their full 3 or more minutes that you're allowed to speak, and I think we need to make it clear to them that we're a presence here. We are serious. We're not going away. And if you just ignore this problem and ignore us, we're going to keep showing up and we're going to keep doing it. And for every 20 of us, that's another hour that their meeting has to go on. That's another hour they have to listen to us. That's another hour before these people can go home and go to bed. And frankly, I think it's worth our time to make sure that they hear our voices.
Yeah!
Where is Anthony?
Hi.
There's Anthony.
So just to conclude, anyone born, naturalized, or living under a jurisdiction is protected with the rights in that jurisdiction.
My name is Anthony Marvin. I come to you today not as a member of Jewish Activists of Maine, or as a member of DSA, or as a member of the Sunrise Movement. My words are my own. I come to you as someone concerned for the safety and well-being of all. Our government right now perpetuates state violence against our dear undocumented siblings, our immigrant friends, and asylum-seeking families.
Oh, Kelly.
Our hands are bloody from inaction. We know that our government is responsible for blood spilled and families separated. We must no longer stand idle. ICE has decided that our hands will not stay the blade of injustice. They have opened an office at one city center in the heart of our city and threatened the safety of our friends and family within our immigrant communities. The call is now. Our choices lay before us. Will we continue to allow xenophobia and bigotry to take root, or guard against the weeds that threaten to choke our garden of democracy?
No. Never!
Yeah!
Never again is now!
Never again is now! We grow the communities we desire until and plant our identities, our communities in this land. It is not our government's place to decide who is or who is not illegal. We have forgotten the violence that cuts through our society when a government decides the legality of a person. We must remember the stories of those who came before us, who built our cities and orchards. We must remember the stories of those who survived genocide and state violence and commit to never allowing that to happen again. Righteous. So is this working or not? I have a couple more words.
Yeah, finish your words.
Great. We must defend our siblings, friends, and families in our immigrant communities. We must listen to and center their leadership. We must respect and heed their advice and orders. And we must take all steps necessary to defend and elevate our communities. Immigration rights are human rights. ICE does not belong in our state. We must do whatever it takes to get rid of them. There is no cost too great. Find who they are and make sure they know that they are not welcome. Dox them. Maybe. If you see them, stop them. There is no space for ICE or their accomplices.
I may or may
within our
not have already done that.
Would you allow ICE to bloody their hands and to harm our communities, our families? I will not suffer ICE, nor any supporter in our communities, in my community. To my politicians, I care not for your words. I will see by your actions if you will fight for us in our communities. Whether by direct action or your own inaction, harmed by an ICE or Border Patrol agent, I beseech the folks of Portland to vigorously remove those responsible from their positions of power. To those of you in the audience, continue to fight. Hold our politicians accountable. If they do not fight for everyone's well-being and justice, if they do not remove ICE from our city, then remember Chile, Haiti, and Hong Kong, those who fight for democracy. Yeah. Remember that our elected and appointed officials serve us, and not us serve them. Remove them from office if they do not cooperate. If they cooperate with ICE, remove them from office. We must remain militant and vigilant against hate. We must not just love our neighbors, but stand with them, protect them against bigotry and racism.
Amen.
As long as we are silent, as long as we are passive, the bloods of our friends and family is on our hands. Be vigilant. Be militant. Allow no members of ICE nor their supporters in our communities. They have violated basic human rights and decency. No human is illegal. Immigration rights are human rights. Allow no elected officials who would assist ICE. If your police and city officials assist and collaborate with federal agents in the imprisonment and deportation of our communities, remove them from their post.
Amen.
If they do that, they have failed their basic duties in the service of the communities they live in, and they have betrayed us. Use your bodies, your votes, your power. Disallow any holding cells in Portland. Do whatever it takes to remove ICE. Deny them access to our courthouses and communities. If any member of our city collaborates or cooperates with ICE or Border Patrol, vigorously remove them from office. History will remember the accomplices of state violence. Destroy any collaborating company that would side with ICE. If they rent to them, occupy their spaces. Occupy!
Yes!
Demand that they put a stop on any contracts they make with ICE or their conspirators, co-conspirators. Protect our peaceful protesters by any means necessary against those who would harm them. demand the state legislature pass laws protecting our undocumented refugee and asylum-seeking friends and family from federal agents who would harm them. It is our duty to vigorously defend our democracy and the rights of all folks. No person is illegal. Future generations will look back on us and our actions today. Will they be proud of us and our defense of human rights, or will they be ashamed of our inaction? You decide that today, tomorrow, and every day forward. Immigration rights are human rights. Is Songbook suck?
Alright, so we no longer have a sound system, but I think we're doing just fine, right? Yeah! Alright, so there are a lot of important intersections that we need to be aware of in our activism. Immigrants' rights don't exist in a vacuum. One important intersection we'd like to talk a little bit more about is between immigration and affordable housing. This is Alyssa from
Maine People's Housing Coalition.
Maine People's Housing Coalition. She's going to talk to us more about this intersection.
Hi, can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay, so I moved into Bayside Village in mid-August, and I found myself in a largely immigrant community. And it wasn't long before we found out that they were going to be selling it out from under us. People that had just gotten here 2 months ago were being told they couldn't live here in Bayside anymore and might be on the street. So we've been really working to organize, and we've been really working to shine a light on this issue of housing in Portland. And it largely affects the immigrant community, and they're very worried. And they're risking homelessness, but they want to be here in the U.S. They're afraid of protesting. Who is here tonight? Not many immigrants. I don't know if I see one. And the reason is they're scared. And their rights are our rights. We have a Second Amendment right to protest freely in this country. First Amendment, I'm sorry. First Amendment right to protest freely in this country, and the immigrants share that right with us, but they don't feel safe. And when ICE moved in, they feel less safe. And they don't want to speak out. But they deserve to be heard, and we need to speak for them. So, I don't know if everyone remembers this, but I was here 15 years ago when the KKK tried to move into Maine. I was there and I protested, and they got kicked out of Maine because we raised an outcry, and we would not tolerate it.
Yes!
That's who we are.
Amen!
That's who we are. We do not tolerate hate and intolerance and violence in the midst of this peaceful, community-loving people. And we're faithful people, whatever that means to you. Not everyone is, but I'm a faithful person. I met people when I was out canvassing for the mayor that said that they are God-loving Trump supporters. Okay, what does that mean? Jesus fed the hungry, he healed the sick, and he cast away their demons. What does that mean to us? That means we show compassion for the least among us. That means we operate on compassion. If you are God-loving, you are against ICE. Because right now the cause is on fire. This is the KKK come back to Maine. And they say they're Christians, they say they're God-fearing. They're not. And we need to tell them who we are again.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up and fight back.
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
When immigrant rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back!
Something else we want to talk about tonight is the fact that this does not end on election day. No matter who gets elected tomorrow, there is still work for us to do. Voting is certainly an important thing. Voting is an important part of the process, but it's by no means the end of the process. We need to show up in, 10 minutes and fill this public comment session. And then in 2 weeks, we need to show up and do it again. And we need to keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it until they pass ordinances that are friendly to our community, until they agree to step up and protect the immigrants who live here from this predatory federal agency that's moving in. We have to make our presence felt. We have to make our voices heard. And that doesn't end tonight. This is only the beginning. What time do we have?
We have a candidate here that's going to run for council.
Yes.
5:45.
5:45? Okay. 5:41. All right, we have a few more people who want to speak tonight, and then I think we're going to move towards public comment. Kelly, you want to go next?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you want the megaphone?
Yeah, use that. That's a good one.
Is yours louder than mine? Is that?
Yeah, it's louder.
All right.
When you push this button, it'll go.
that doesn't know what to say. I figured out it's my article if someone would like to stand up and read about a 3-minute segment.
Yeah, here.
Just don't read the title. They'll think you wrote it.
Okay.
What propels an atrocity?
Would you mind?
Silence.
The first people.
We in Maine think that we know the way that life should be. We cannot suffer these Gestapo tactics in our town, in our city, in our state, in this country. We have to stand up and use our privilege to say no. No more. No more putting kids in cages.
No.
No more assaulting people we destabilized at the borders. No more. No more fascism. No more inequity. No elevating all voices. Because to face the crises that we are facing now, these multiple crises converging, we need to elevate all peoples together. Because it's the only way for us forward. We welcome all peoples to our communities. We value our diversity. I ask you to use your privilege. Use your privilege to be the loudest voice in the room. Have these conversations at Thanksgiving, at Christmas, with your family who doesn't want to talk about it, with people who can't face our realities, with people who can't acknowledge the cruelties and the devastation of our very humanity. Continue coming out to support each other and to speak out against the evils that we face, and to take responsibility for our complicity in any of it, which means no more tacit approval, no more standing back while they allow this
All right, I can't recognize any of you at this point. It's too dark, but we had somebody who's going to speak for Extinction Rebellion.
I can speak for Extinction Rebellion.
You want to do it, Adam?
Yeah.
Your phone.
All right, we're going to hear from Adam.
All right.
Extinction Rebellion. Adam, can you talk about the intersection? Yeah.
So, I mean, I want to first start out by saying that nobody should ever have to live in fear, anywhere, for any reason, regardless of your skin color, your nationality, your religion. So, we have a climate crisis. There are many places around the world that are already flooding, experiencing fires. This is happening in America and in other countries, and this is because of corporate greed and because nothing is being done by elected officials here or abroad. So as this continues, if we fail to address this climate crisis, there are going to be refugees. And you could look at, war. Okay, we are bombing the same countries people are fleeing from, and we are blaming them for coming here trying to find a better life, to live freely, to exist. That is a source of pollution. The U.S. military is one of the biggest polluters that exist to date. While we are destroying and destabilizing countries, we are creating this crisis of people seeking a better life. So, you know, we're here today to tell our neighbors that we love them, that we support them, that we don't want them to be scared to walk down the street, to participate in our economy, to have jobs. Like, we love them. Like, it is the opposite of war. It is the opposite of destruction. And we need to come together and, you know, use our privilege or use our hearts, because this is I was raised here. I was born here, and this city has been the embodiment of a melting pot of ideas, of races, of religions, and people who can always work together. And if there was a place that I believed wholeheartedly that could stand up to racism or division or the war machine or the fossil fuel industry, it will always be Portland, Maine. This is the place that can really set the bar for the rest of the country and the rest of the world if we keep doing what we're doing today. So thank every one of you for coming out here. I have so much respect for you and only love. Thank you.
All right, so at this point we're starting to get ready for public comment. I don't know if any of you have prepared remarks, but if you don't and you'd like to have prepared remarks, I have about 39 pages of articles about ICE and immigration, and you can stand up there and read if you want to. I ask that everybody try to take their full 3 minutes if they're willing to get up there and talk. We want to add as much time to this meeting as possible. We don't want this to be convenient for them.
Actually, I'd love to say something if I may.
Okay.
All right. Introduce yourself. My name's Carolyn Koch. I'm from South Portland, and I've been over by ICE. I've been over by the office outside, and there's no one there. It looks like nothing is going on, and we need to very simply do many things, but we need to be over there. We need to be over there during the day, talking to people and explaining that ICE is there. We should be getting there, you know, when they go to work, or when they come out of work, or when they go to lunch, or whatever. We need to make a presence there because because what's going on there is entirely invisible, and that's a real problem. Also, I'd like to point out that the Portland Press-Herald's office is in the same building as ICE, and we have heard nothing from them except for about a rally.
They're on the same floor. They're on the same floor.
Good God. All right, so either they are really bad
and
at their
they've
job.
known 12 weeks.
All right, so we need to talk to them. We need to write to them. We need to show up in their office.
And all the radio stations.
And the radio stations.
How about we boycott them?
This is absolutely insane. They know what's going on. They're not telling us. They need to be held accountable. So we got to show up there. We need to talk to Durago. We need to talk to the Portland Press-Herald and really start making some noise. Because it's just what we got to do. So thank you.
I think it might be about time to occupy the Press-Herald too.
Boycott! Stop buying their paper.
All right, so everybody ready for public comment? We gonna do this?
Yeah!
Fuck yeah, we are. So if anybody wants any material they can read, I have a whole stack here. If you have your own remarks, that's great. Take your time. Talk slow, walk slow on your way up there. We want to take as much time for this as possible. We're here as long as we need to be. Thank you.
Okay.